Hey everyone, we're going to talk about your lab reports and where do you go to access your labs and get all the material that you need. So we're going to start off with lab 1. You're going to go to content and you're going to scroll to the module and you will scroll to where it says labs and then you will click on the lab assignment. Since we're going to talk about lab 1, I'm going to go ahead and click here. And it gives you a list of things that you're going to need, and here is the link to the lab report and instructions, which I did talk a little bit about in the walkthrough video, but we're just going to go ahead and redo it. So when you click on that link, it'll take you to 2 different documents. This lab instructions document basically gives you some background information that you should read through to help you with the lab. You're going to be doing exercise 2 only. And I kind of marked out things that you don't need to worry about, questions that are not required and stuff like that. So you can kind of just ignore that black part. And then once you have, read through that and you're ready to go, you can go to the lab report. And this is, where your example report, and you're going to fill out stuff. So you're going to put your name. You're going to put what the purpose of the overall lab is. The hypothesis should be in an if-then format. I try to give you some clues about, what your hypothesis should kind of be around, just to kind of help you out. So you can just, delete this whenever you're working on it. And here's your data table where you're going to collect 30 individuals, height and wingspan, forearm and hand, and then you're going to calculate their ratio. And I have a really good video in the announcements that shows you how to do that, so I'm not going to show you that right here. Then you're going to make 2 graphs. I tell you which graphs to make. You can make those in Excel and Google Sheets. That's also in the video whenever I do the proportions, so I'm not going to show you that here. Then you're going to fill in your analysis questions using data and evidence from the lab. And then you're going to write a conclusion. I tell you how many paragraphs it should be, and these are, the things that should be included in it. And then you write a reflection that typically answers questions about the lab. And then you list your sources with in-text citations, and there's also a video for that as well, a separate one. So essentially, the areas that you will want to use like outside sources to support your ideas is going to mainly be in the conclusion and the reflection. So for instance, this is asking about evidence that proves or disproves things. But you can talk about, there's plenty of data out there and evidence about height and wingspan, like the correlation between these two. So you can use, outside sources there. Just whatever references you use, make sure you provide in-text citations. Review that video if you're not familiar with that. So after you fill in the report, now let's say you have trouble getting the 30 signatures. You can actually go into our discussions and you can go into the virtual cafe, and I have placed some free data for you that you can take. I just ask that you post maybe 1 or 2 measurements that you collect. So you can use this data because it can be hard to get 30, but it's really good to get 30 because with science you want kind of a large sample size. You don't want like a small. So like the more people you get, the better trends that you can see in your data. So feel free to use this. This is just measurements from past classes. Use that to help you. So then you will go, after you completed everything, you'll go into assignments, you'll click here, and you will scroll down. Here's your rubric. So I tell students to have their lab report open and just go through the lab report and make sure that what is in your lab report aligns to what is in this rubric. So like if if you don't use an if-then statement for your hypothesis, you're automatically only going to get 1 point, or if it's confusing, you might get no points. So just use this as a little checklist to help you. And you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom And at the end, you're gonna upload that file and then hit submit, and you are good to go, okay? You can make more than one submission. Okay, let me clarify that. Let's say you mess up and you upload the wrong thing. You can go in and submit the, the correct thing. Like and sometimes that does happen. Like I've had students submit the wrong lab report accidentally, and I'll just email them and say, hey, upload the correct one. So it's not like, oh, you only get one shot at uploading this. Now, you do only get one grade, so you cannot resubmit this for a better grade. So if it's not correct, it's just not correct, and you're just going to have to take the, the grade that you earned and use it as a learning experience. So let's just go over that again for like lab 2. So we're going to go into lab 2. And right, everything is listed here. It tells you, to click on this link. And then here we go. Here's the information that we are going to read through to understand how to complete the lab. And then you're gonna follow the instructions. Here we go. And so this will tell you what to do. This lab is pretty long. It takes about 5 to 6 days, so you want to get started on it early. But you just follow the directions that it tells you and, work your way through it. Anytime you see like questions on here, that's not the ones that you need to answer. Instead, the questions that you need to answer are on the lab report. So this is the report that you fill in while you are, going through that lab manual. So you can see here, like, here's the questions for you to answer for this particular lab. Okay. So that's pretty much it. You'll do that for every lab that you have. If you would rather, you can go straight to the source and, right, like click on it here and then, there's the link and stuff. The other thing that I want to show you is that I do post, I'm going to go ahead and get out. I do post like kind of guided walkthroughs for this. Yeah, so like see like lab 1, I kind of give you, there's that video I was talking about how to make the graphs and how to calculate the ratios. So each week I do post like helpful things. So like here's lab 2. That tells you, here's how you should do some of these things. So make sure that you review that as well whenever you are working on your labs, because, those are what students tend to struggle with the most and get frustrated with the most is the labs. So take advantage of, what I share with you, so that way you will be successful. All right, let me know if you have any questions.